Alright, the first unit we're going to talk about here today is LR STR Tag Rosé. Not really a shocker that he is on this list, of course. His tanking is pretty impressive. I will say he didn't impress me too much in that global Dokkan Celebration Stage 1 against that Rosé. He did take some damage there for sure against that Rosé, but that Rosé can be pretty nasty once he fully builds up. But again, this was the first challenging event that released during the celebration, and I was kind of expecting him to tank it better. But now that we got these new Divine Wrath and Mortal Will stages, I am a little more impressed with his tanking, as he was able to tank that 7.7 mil super really, really well. So he should. I don't really know how well he's going to age though, especially if he's already showing him taking some pretty massive damage from that INT Rosé, but I will say he is still a very impressive unit in terms of the tanking department, especially post-super. Pre-super, he does have 60% damage reduction guard and 1.2 mil defense before we start applying all these active skill buffs and such, and support and whatnot there, but he can be pretty impressive overall, and the reason why he's on this list, of course. But again, I am pretty interested to see how well he's going to age. I don't know if it will be well, but it also depends on what the meta looks like in a few months from now. Alright, the next unit I want to talk about is STR Beast Gohan. It's actually pretty funny because I just made a video, I believe yesterday, talking about the best the units I have as some of the units that are about to age out. And you would think I was going to put Beast Gohan on that list, especially because we got another long fight, and now these guys are doing 7+ mil supers. That would have definitely aged out Beast, but the fact that they released that global Dokkan Celebration stage, the one with Rose and Zamasu, you're going to hear that a lot in these videos because it's a relevant fight as of right now. Beast Gohan took a Rose fully built up for 500k. Now, whether you want to tell me that's a 20 mil super or a 26 mil super, I don't know. All I know is I have footage of it being at least a 24 mil super, so I'm going to go with that because I've seen that with my own eyes. That's the super that Great Ape Goku took from Rose, with Rose being built up, was a 24 mil super. So that's the number I'm going to use here for it, and he took a 24 mil super for 500k. That's with all in the family up, 60% defense support from the STR Blue Goku, AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku support, intro, active, and fully built up with the 80% damage reduction. That is a lot of things to go his way, but the important things to note is that it's very doable, first of all, because it's not like any of these units you're using are not meta right now, and two, it's the fact that, I mean, getting his 80% damage reduction and his active up is literally just turn 3 for him, so he can look really impressive with that situation going for him. And the fact that he's a 9th anniversary unit that came out when the strongest attack was a 3 mil super is very insane, because we got again, this is a attack that's about 7 point something times stronger than the hardest super in the game at that time, and he's taking it for 500k. It is insane how tanky this Beast Gohan is. Again, he's only at this point relevant for short fights, but he is still the tankiest unit, well, second tankiest unit in the game when you're in that 5-turn window with his active skill up. Alright, the next unit I want to talk about is LR STR Tag Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Of course, if we're going to talk about Rose, we're going to talk about the Goku. Now, I don't think he's as impressive as Rose in terms of consistent tanking, clearly because he only has 1.1 mil defense and 70% damage reduction before supering, before active skills and all that stuff. So I wouldn't say that's necessarily very impressive. He does get caught a lot. I wouldn't say dodge or die per se, but I would say that he definitely can get caught with those kind of defensive stats, especially when you're facing bosses with 7+ mil supers. But the good thing is, I will say, is after you have the access to the Father-Son Gallic Gun active, he becomes quite insane. It's basically Rose with 10% more damage reduction, which is very, very good once you get that Father-Son Gallic Gun active up. And I mean, he's still not the tankiest unit in the game even with that, but he is, with that active up, he is the second tankiest unit in the game. Now, I will say I am recording this section before I record what I presume is the EZA LR INT Vegeta and Trunks, which you would have already heard earlier in this video. I know it's weird, but I'm recording these clips before his details come out. I don't know if he's going to be in this video or not, because I'm just presuming that he's releasing on the 13th, but that's whether he is in there or not. I just would rather describe it now than in the comments. But you know, his 80% damage reduction is really where his value comes in, but if we're talking about pure tanking, This Goku is really good with that guard up. Before, I wouldn't say it's that impressive pre-super. Post-super, he can tank some good hits, though. But his main value is definitely the dodge early on. Then once you get that Father Son Galaga active up, his guard up with those defensive stats are pretty impressive. Of course, he does have access to AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku, so maybe why they held back a little bit on that damage reduction. But he's still overall very impressive for a Part 1 headliner. Again, they're really good performing headliners. Again, still not my favorite choice. And animations, I think, hit about 50-50. But again, they're good headliners. I mean, I'm not going to deny that they actually are good, kit-wise headliners. All right, the next unit I want to talk about is LR AGL Super Gogeta. Now, his base form is not notorious for being an excellent tank, but I would definitely say LR AGL Super Gogeta is an underrated tank because he's actually the best tank in the game. A lot of people don't realize how powerful he is once you're able to tank. Like, once you're able to get him into Super Gogeta. Now, I mean, LR Tech Super Gogeta's active turn is definitely tankier, but Super Gogeta by himself, just listen to these numbers. With 8 stacks, just 8 stacks with the Angel Super Saiyan Goku, so 8 supers, when he receives attack as Gogeta, once you activate his active skill, post-super, so he needs to super 4 times. He has guard up, remember this. He has 9.43 million defense. And then remember, he already has 60% base damage reduction. Then for each rainbow orb you obtain, he gets 5% damage reduction. And the good thing is Gogeta gets bonus ki when collecting rainbow orbs. So if you have a rainbow orb path of, let's say, 5, it will prioritize the rainbow orbs over type orbs because it's technically giving him more ki. So it's very easy to get him to 80 to 85% damage reduction with over 9 million defense post-super, guard. Like, what is killing him with those stats? I literally don't know. Now, again, they balance that out by making Vegeta not amazing, so it does take some time. And then, of course, you do need to super with Angel Goku. So that means you can't go, if you want these ridiculous numbers, you can't go into Gogeta right when you get access to him. This is like turn 9 Gogeta stats, which, again, these bosses do go that long, so it isn't, like, insane to say that. And, of course, this is only for 1 turn due to it being his active turn. But even then, we'll also look at the fact that he has 4.6 million defense pre-super on his active turn. So it is like, on that turn, he is stupid tanky. Now, it is insane to say that this unit has all of those stats, like 10 mil defense, essentially, with that guard and damage reduction. I would have to calc it. I can't even tell you on top of my head, but it might be like a 40 mil super that is required to kill him right there. It is pretty impressive, which is quite insane to say. Now, without his active skill, he can get up to 6 million defense post-super. Before super, it's 2.9. So keep all of that in mind with this Gogeta. Even on it without his active turn, he can have 6 million defense with those stats. That's quite insane. There's a reason why he only lasts for 4 turns. Alright, next we are talking about the LR STR Tag Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Again, I could have mentioned them with the Goku section, but I kind of wanted to separate them out just a bit because I want to talk about how impressive this Vegeta is post-super. Now, again, I wouldn't say impresses me at all pre-super. He definitely can take damage from normals, very light normals as well, before attacking. I'm referring to AoEs, Fusion Zamasu's AoE does damage to him. So, not exactly impressive there. But what impressed me was his performance in the Divine Wrath and Order Immortal Will mission when he was fighting the Sword of Hope Trunks. That's a 7.7 mil super. I had the active up, so he had the Gallant Gun buff up, of course. I think this is double Gallant Gun, so I think that's correct. He had a guard up, 40% damage reduction, all the stuff he gets post-super. Double-digit tanks, a 7.7 mil super, post-super. Again, he is a slot 3 or 2 unit, slot 3 for more impressive damage. But the fact that he, as a floater, tanked a 7.7 mil super, and again, he doesn't have great AoE protection, but he does have protection against it, especially with the Father Son Gallant Gun up. He's essentially what Evolution Blue Vegeta should have been Like, Blue Vegeta can get these impressive defensive tanking numbers, but of course the issue is, you know, locking. His issue is going to be AoEs, and then again, you do need a good amount of orb, RNG, and super ring, and etc. to be able to tank something like a 7.7 mil super. But that's essentially what he should have been, what Evolution should have been. He is essentially that. He's a better Evolution Blue Vegeta in terms of a floater option. Of course, he has way less RNG tied to him, but it is quite impressive that he tanked a 7.7 mil super for double digits. Yeah, I would definitely say I was pretty shocked to see that. All right, the next unit I want to talk about is the EZA LR INT Rosé. This is, I love, okay, a lot of people don't like temporary boosts. Some people do, some people don't, because they're like, why would you only boost them temporarily and then make them bad again, right? I can understand that. But at the same time, dude, it's really cool because it allows other old units who, like, are not going to EZA for a while. Like, this Rosé just EZA'd 2 years ago. We're not going to see a super EZA for him for probably another 2 years or so. So being able to get a temporary buff where he gets relevance for like a month or two is pretty fun, because now you get this, like, this Rosé is doing 50 mil supers, and if you have him on rotation with the Goku Black, right? He's on rotation with Goku Black. He's at 24 key, you know, and then of course this is post super after a few supers that he has done. He can get up to 5.8 mil defense, which is not crazy, you know, without the actives, he's at 5.8 mil. With the actives, he's at 8.7 mil, which is very good. That's double Goku Black, the Holy Light Grenade active skill. But what gets crazier is when you start including the clones and a second Rosé on rotation. Now, you're not going to probably have 2 Rosés on rotation. That just seems kind of unlikely, but you would have 160% attack and defense buff by having both on rotation. You would have the dual Goku Black active, of course, at 24 key. This is also including a Fizz Rosé domain. I don't think it's as reasonable, because I don't think Rosé is that good unless you have double Goku Black active up and some clone support, which we're talking about right now, which is that the Fizz and INT clone Goku Black have 2-turn support, which helps this Rosé really look impressive. With all of that, he gets up to a 12.6 mil defense. Again, keep in mind, he has no other defensive mechanics, so he just has raw stats. But the fact that he can get essentially 8.7 mil defense on a reasonable turn is impressive for a unit that just got a temporary buff. Of course, he has a ton of other buffs now too, access to him, but the fact that we're taking a unit that was relevant in 2023 and making him relevant in 2025 against bosses doing 7 mil supers is insane. It is really fun to see it, but it is insane how much of a tank he is right now. Let's stay on the Rosé train for a second. Let's talk about Super EZA AGL Rosé. He can have issues tanking against this new Trunks boss who does a 7.7 mil super. You'll see in the screenshot right here, he took a 7.7 mil super for 1 million damage. But here is something about that. That was on a 170% team. He did not have access to the full 220%. This is also without the Rosé Goku Black active skill, and even if it was with it, it was only one of them, if I recall. If you ran double, you would have tanked that easily. Of course, you also had the extra 100% attack and defense from the leader skill. So he definitely would have been able to tank that on the Goku Black team. Now, still, there is one other factor to talk about, is the fact that if he gets supered on his first attack before getting that extra damage reduction up, he can be in trouble. He does need the full passive in order to be an impressive tank, but the fact that it fully built up next to Rosé on a full 220% lead, he's able to tank 7.7 mil supers, that is quite insane. This Rosé is a really good Super EZA, and I'm glad he is this tanky, because again, Super Bosses definitely needs these buffs in order to be relevant again. Alright, let's talk about the other tag unit, the final tag unit today in this video, and that is going to be LR STR Tag Zamasu. Again, we're talking about how all 4 of these units are pretty tanky. Of course, the Vegeta and Zamasu have to be post-super in slot 2 or 3. And again, both of them have issues either from locking or other stuff. They don't really have impressive defensive stats before supering. But this Zamasu can look really good, but he does need to be under 60% HP. If you have Rosé's active, you can get up to 7.8 mil defense and have guard. That is insane. Of course, this is under 60% HP, but that is really good. Again, he's kind of like Rosé. He doesn't have much defensive mechanics. Of course, minus guard, which is a very, very strong mechanic. So you have over 7 mil defense and guard. In this scenario, he is double-digit tanking the new Trunks boss, who is the hardest-hitting boss we currently have, if you were not counting Rosé, right? If we're counting like kind of normal event bosses, he is the strongest normal super boss we have right now. And the crazier thing, too, is how hard this Zamasu is able to hit. If you activate the Fusion Zamasu active skill with him, and then, of course, you're next to Rosé, maybe you have a Rosé Goku Black active up, and some other factors, he can be hitting, like, stupid numbers, like 200 mil super numbers. It is insane how hard this unit can hit. And it's kind of funny because you would think that Rosé would hit that hard and then Zamasu would be tanky, but they kind of flip the roles there, which is pretty interesting to me. But again, he also is tanky if you have all those factors going your way, and the reason why I think he's a pretty impressive tank. But again, it is a slot 2 or slot 3. All right, let's talk about LR STR T&V. Again, I don't really think he's still a very impressive tank at 55%. However, he does have value due to the new Global Dokkan celebration or campaign, stage 1 against Rosé and Zamasu, and Goku and Vegeta in stage 2, because he has 100% Ki Blast counter against both of them. I got it wrong in my previous 2 videos ago or 3 videos ago, saying that he has 100% against Goku and Goku Black, but only 50% against Zamasu and Vegeta. But the thing is, it's not about just a specific Kamehameha being fired at him. It's if a Kamehameha enemy is present, which means he has 100% dodge against both of them, regardless if they were on Kamehameha or not, as long as Goku and Rosé were alive. So, just wanted to clear that up. I did read the comments, and I did see that. I did respond to those people as well, but I just wanted to bring it up here. But, you know, he is still an impressive tank at 100%. He has 300k defense on the first attack before getting attacked with 75% damage reduction. But then once he gets hit, it goes up to 2.2 mil defense with 50% damage reduction, which, again, I wouldn't say is super crazy, but it is still really good. And then on his active turn, he can hit even crazier numbers, because if you use super in slot 2, drag him over to slot 1, then you're able to get up to 3.4 mil defense when he is hit, and he will have 95% damage reduction before that. So I think it's like 1 mil defense and 95% damage reduction or something of that sort before getting hit. After he gets hit, it's 3.4 mil defense with 50% damage reduction. That is, again, really impressive. He is a very tanky unit. And again, his Ki Blast super counter, I will say, is probably the most important thing about this unit. Plus, with how hard he hits. And again, he's going to be a relevant unit for some time for sure. And right now, he has showed himself as a valuable asset in this current meta. All right, here's a unit I think a lot of people were not going to expect in this video, and that is STR Cell. I loved this unit on release. I know a lot of people were pretty controversial with his release. Of course, he has to die to be good, but the greatest thing about him is how well he can tank post-super against supers. With his active up, domain, fully built up, after 4 supers, he is at 3.6 mil defense, 65% damage reduction, and guard. Of course, he has 35% damage reduction against normals. He still has the guard, right? But let's just calculate the damage reduction against supers, the defense, and the guard. He's able to tank up to a 15 mil super. That is insane. Now, he will start taking damage, I will say, from normals, especially if Rosé is fully built up. He would definitely take damage from the AoEs and such. But the most impressive ability from the Cell is the ability to eat up to 15 mil supers. That is quite insane. Again, there is a lot going into this, like his domain, he's active, we have done all his attacks and everything of that sort. But once you do it, he is an incredible tank. There's not any super right now. Again, Rosé would have to be fully built up to kill Cell. But otherwise, there's really not, I mean, of course, Festival Battles, but outside of those two, there's really no other unit that can take out Cell at this current moment, minus like the gag bosses, of course. Again, normals from the Rosé boss could get to him, but otherwise, he is not going to be killed as a slot 2 or slot 3 unit. All right, the final unit I want to talk about today is AGL Kid Goku. I had to mention him, the #1 TUR in the game, of course. He is already very tanky due to the fact that he's able to stack very quickly, high amounts of damage reduction right away, and if you super 7 times, you get an additional super and guard with this unit. Of course, there's other factors of why he's good due to his dodge and crit 100% chances once you pull off the first one of each of those. But the biggest thing that I love about this unit and why he's so good is within the first 2 turns, You can pull off 7 supers pretty easily, I feel like. Of course, you have to get somewhat lucky to get all 7 supers within the first 2 turns, but if you do so, he has 60% damage reduction and guard. He is pretty much unkillable once you get to that point. He has his active up already ready to roll. He's got some stacks under his belt. He is not really dying too much at this point. Of course, I would say Rose Goku Black would still cook him one of the global Dokkan celebration stage 1 or campaigns, but I still think he's very good. For example, in the 7.7 mil Trunks fight, he's a stacking unit who can hold his own against very high damage normals and supers right away due to high damage reduction and guard and quick stacking. So I think he is pretty impressive. He's still #1 TUR in the game, I believe. You could probably start making some cases for some of these new Super EZAs coming up, but I still would say that AGL Kid Goku is one. But once you start including Vegeta Blue and Rose, you can definitely make some cases as them around the 2 to 3 range, especially Rose. Vegeta Blue is also very impressive, though. But overall, I love this Kid Goku. I mean, he is very strong. He is super tanky. Even once he loses his intro buff, he is still tanking insanely well due to his active and his stacking and whatever is going on with him. These bosses are strong, but this Kid Goku is still performing very well, especially if you have some of his links up and you've got some support going for him. He's a very, very strong unit. But anyways, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about these units. Do you think I missed anybody on this list? Do you think there's going to be some new units on this list? Like part 2. But, let me know in the comments below of what other units we could see on here that are going to be quite impressive. Hit the like button and comment. If you guys enjoy the voice the commenting videos, there is a first playlist right in the description with all my voice content. If you guys just enjoy the Dokkan Battle content in general, whether voiced or the OG format with text, you guys are missing that, comment below. I want some more OG format. I will try to mix it in, try to kind of please both crowds, but I can't promise that it's going to happen all the time. But if you want that, click my second playlist. It's got it all. And I'll see you guys in the next one.